Hello and welcome. My name is Angie Holden and I'm a blogger behind the Country Chic Cottage. Today we're going to talk about using a fill pattern in Cricut Design Space for your engraving tools. So if you have the engraving tool for the Cricut Maker, or I've even showed an engraving tool in a past video for the Cricut Explore series, if you have either of those, I have a fill pattern for you today. It's for free. I'm going to show you how to use it to fill in your designs. Once you use that, you can get a more complete engraving with your Cricut machine. So perhaps you're looking for engraving options, can't afford that Glowforge Aura that I showed a few weeks ago, then this video may be for you. So first of all, let's talk about where to get that engraving pattern. I am going to have it in the description below this video. You just sign up and I'll send it directly to your email. You download it and then you use it in the manner which I'm going to show you. I am going to show you right in Design Space how to get that fill pattern in and use it to fill whatever design that you have in mind. Now we are going to use it for an example piece here so I can kind of show you what it's going to look like, and then you can experiment with it on your own to get filled designs right with your Cricut machine and your engraving tool. So let's get started. I use these Silhouette metal etching sheets for this. They're really great for testing because the etching shows up really great on them. Or if you have a project that requires a sheet, they're also really nice. Let's talk about using the fill pattern that comes with this course. I'm going to use a heart as an illustration for this, but you can use this for text or other shapes as well. First, you'll need to upload the fill pattern. So click Upload Image, then browse and find the SVG on your computer. Once you find it, it should come in as a cut image and you're going to go ahead and click Upload. Then click that and click Add to Canvas. This is about 11 inches by 11 inches, so it is rather large. It may take a long time to upload as well as a long time to add to your canvas. Now let's say I want to add that to this heart. First, let's make this a 2-inch wide heart because I want to make some copies of this. So I'm going to make one copy that we are going to engrave just by itself. And I'm going to make another copy that we're going to use for something else in a minute. And then for this one, let's go ahead and make it as large as possible. So what we want to do is make as many of these lines as possible. So I'm going to make it as large as I can and still fit in this pattern. The pattern is vertical. So if I zoom in on it, you can see a bunch of small lines. So it is a vertical pattern. If you wanted it at an angle at this point, we'll go ahead and do that before we slice. And we need to make sure that the heart fits completely in there with the pattern at an angle. So you can do it at an angle, you can do it straight up and down, you can do it straight horizontally as well. That portion is completely up to you. Then we'll pick both the shape and the pattern and click Slice. You do need to make sure that your shape is only one piece because you can only slice 2 objects at a time, so it does just need to be 2 layers. The slice might take a while, you might have to wait a little bit, but it should slice it out and you should get results over here. The one with the square around it we are going to delete, and then we can delete all but one of the slice results. Now remember, I had 2 hearts that I had extra copies over here. This is my slice result. Now if we zoom in on this and change it to an engrave, we can see a bunch of small lines very, very close together. So this will fill our heart in with etched lines. Now we want to make this the size we want it. So I'm going to make it 2 inches. And so now it's the size of the other hearts. Now what I often like to do, so first of all, this one I'm going to engrave it just like this. This one I'm going to engrave it, it's the one with all the lines. What I often like to do is to make an offset or a line around the outside of my filled design. I just feel like it makes it look a little bit more professional, a little bit cleaner. So I am going to make a copy of this slice result. I'm going to pull it over here. And this slice result is exactly the same size, so I'm going to make it an offset around this one. So this is an offset of the copy, and we're going to make it very, very small. So I think I'm going to do a 0.02 offset. And I am going to click Apply. Then I have the offset and the heart. So we want to separate those two. And I want to get rid of the heart itself and just have the offset layer. And for that offset, I want to go ahead and change that to engrave. And I want to pick it as well as one of those hearts that has all the little lines in it. And I want to align and center and then attach those together. And now if I zoom in very, very closely, you will see that there is going to be a line around the outside. Now, could I get that even closer to my engraving? Yes, I definitely could. So you can play around with the offset itself and get it as close as possible in there so that it makes the heart a little bit cleaner. I played around with this a little more. 0.005 offset gave me this look right here, and I really like it. So I'm going to pick those two and attach them together. We are going to give that a try. Now this makes it a little bit larger than 2 inches, so if I want to resize it now that I've attached it together to about 2 inches, that would make it exactly the same size as my other 2 hearts. So now all of these are engraving lines. So I have the original, what Cricut Design Space would have done anyway. I have a filled heart, and I have a filled heart with an offset line around the outside. Now I'm going to engrave all 3 of these so we can see the difference between them. Now the filled engraving will take a very long time on your machine. So do be aware of the time that it will take to engrave something like this as well. So I engraved all 3 of my hearts. The first one is how, of course, it would be in Cricut Design Space if you didn't do anything additional, and it's just the outline. The second is just with the fill lines. And the third is with the fill lines, plus I outlined around the outside edge. I feel like this gives a cleaner appearance on some projects, just depending on what you're working on. And here's a close-up view of those engravings, so you can really see what the fill does and that it makes the engraving even better. So now you know how to use that fill pattern, and you can use it for all of your projects, just like I've shown you in this video. So I think you can tell by our example piece that it makes a huge difference. That fill makes a huge difference with your engraving. I did want to note that the engraving with a Cricut machine is still rough. That does not change with that fill pattern. So I can feel each and every little line on that fill pattern, and it is a rough feel. And then you saw what it looks like. It almost looks like blinds, which it is, within the fill pattern itself. So that is just the nature of how the Cricut machine engraves. It only has that small engraving tip, and it sort of scratches the surface. So that's how the Cricut machine itself engraves. So it will not be a similar engraving to something that a Glowforge would do. It is a different type of engraving because it is scratching the surface of the metal. So you can give it a try for yourself. I will link to these metal sheets below because they are very, very great for experimenting a little bit. So I love them for experimenting, giving different things a try, seeing what works and what doesn't. And because they're already painted and coated, the engraving really pops off. Now, if you are engraving something like just plain steel and you want the engraving to pop a little bit more, I do have a video on adding color to engraving, and I will link to it in the description below this video. That way, once you master adding that fill pattern, getting that engraving, and you want to engrave, you know, just a plain aluminum, say, necklace or bracelet or charm, something, then you can add something to the engraving to make it pop a little bit more and stand out on your surface. So I will link to that video below as well. For now, if you have any questions about adding a fill pattern in Cricut Design Space to your engraving projects, drop them in the comment section below. If this video helped you, give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, head on over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We have videos just like this one every single week, and trust me, you don't want to miss any of those. So thank you all so much for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.